Hello and welcome to the Daily Royal. My name is Shelby and I have been a royal watcher for the past 10 years. In this podcast, I talk about the daily events of 7 of the European monarchies. So I talk about Belgium, the UK, Denmark, the Netherlands, Norway, Spain, and Sweden. I upload Monday through Friday with occasional bonus episodes here and there. Today is April 1st of 2021. Well, finally, a day has gone as I predicted. It was a fairly slow day. There were 2 events in 2 royal households, so very calm Monday, Thursday. And so here is our game plan. I will go through the events. I have 5 more monarchies that I don't talk about prepped and ready to go. Here's the thing. I am super sick today. I don't know what happened. I have just been really under the weather all day. So we are just going to go through the 5 that I have already prepped. We're going to do, hopefully, whatever this is passes today. And I will be back to normal tomorrow. And we'll do 5 more. We'll have like a special Saturday episode. And then we'll still record for the Vatican on Sunday. So actually, I think tomorrow there will probably be like 6 or 7 monarchies left that I still have to talk about. So we'll do that. So that is the game plan. I apologize that I don't have more today. Today is probably going to be like a 20-minute episode. But what I'm trying to do is cover as many events as I can before we kind of take an Easter break. Not that I am taking an Easter break. I don't celebrate Easter. But like before we go too many days, so then it's like weird to talk about Thursday events in a week, essentially. So we're going to go through all of that now. So we are going to start with the British royal family today. I mentioned in yesterday's episode that there could be some things going on today from the British royal family in relation to Maundy Thursday. I wasn't sure if they would happen or not because of COVID and all of that. So every year, this is like an annual tradition in the, in the Church of England. And since Queen Elizabeth became monarch 69 years ago, it has been her personally who does this. So she spends, typically there's a ceremony on Maundy Thursday, and she gives out Maundy gifts, which are gold coins. So there's like a commemorative, I think it's a commemorative, come on, we'll get there, or not, a 5-pound coin, and then a 5 or a 50-cent something, 50 pence, it's not 50 cents, and so every Maundy Thursday, the Queen distributes these specially minted coins that come in these cute little red and white purses to pensioners. So these are people who have are retired, and she will typically send them out. There will be, or give them out, however many for each year she lived. So this year, 95 95 women and 95 men received these gifts. And that is because in a couple of weeks, in like 20 days, Queen Elizabeth is turning 95. So it always kind of corresponds with her birthday, because her birthday is around Easter time, since Easter is a movable day. So along with them went a letter as well, where Queen Elizabeth starts by saying, "I am delighted to send you the Monday gift, which I hope you will accept as an expression of my personal thanks to you for all that you have done to enrich the life of our community." And then she talks about the Maundy Thursday story. And so basically the point of it is for someone of immense wealth and importance to take on a servitude role. And so that is what the letter talks about. And then she also talks about how she and the pensioners are, I'm sure, sad about the present circumstances, being COVID, that the services cannot take place in person. And then she wishes them a happy Easter. So it's lovely. It's a lovely tradition. Easter is something that the British royal family takes pretty seriously, especially Queen Elizabeth. We talked about this, she is the head of the Church of England, and she herself is believed to be incredibly faithful. Her faith is incredibly important to her and how she lives her life. So this is something that is really important. Typically, the British royal family will all go to Windsor for Easter and attend Easter services at Windsor. It's a pretty traditional time for them. So that was what was going on in the British royal family. Not as exciting as it could be because we live in a world of COVID. But hopefully next year we'll be able to see this in person because, I don't know, maybe COVID will end. I don't know. But anyway, that's what was going on in the UK. So now we are going to head over to the Netherlands. In the Netherlands today, there was just one event, which was scheduled last night, so I knew it was going to happen, which, thank goodness. So today, Queen Maxima took part in a working visit to... This is all in Dutch. Google Translate is just not working. Sorry, today is a day I did not prepare ahead of time. And so I'm going straight to the sources, which is fine. So I think the organization is called Classmates, which is an initiative of an organization that does online language coaching. So volunteers practice the Dutch language with newcomers, and share tips and tricks on how to be a more effective speaker in Dutch. It looks like there have been now 2,000 partnerships between student and mentor that have participated in the project. So that was the importance of the working visit. And then Maxima was also able to speak with coordinators of the organization and hear a bunch of different stories. This also works with companies that are offering employees the opportunity to chat with newcomers of the office during working hours. So basically, it's just a language partnership to increase learning of the Dutch language. So it looks like it was founded in March 2020 because the daily talking contacts were lost due to COVID. So they reformatted and created this. So they meet once a week and practice Dutch. I don't know. I just think like that's really cool. This is something that I look into for when I'm learning Spanish. So I am really confident in reading and writing and listening, but not so much in my speaking because I don't get to speak it very often. So I'm to the point in my like Spanish education where I want to start practicing. So organizations like this are really, really important. Especially for people who are coming to the Netherlands. It's pretty important wherever you travel, like wherever you are moving to, it's really important to like learn the language so you can communicate on a better level, because there's always something lost in translation. Like I know if I ever move to Spain, which I'll be completely honest is like a goal, I will but I will not start being able to communicate super effectively because Spanish is not my first language. And it's not something I'm super fluent in yet. Like I always get bummed out that I don't understand like idioms and things like that in Spanish just because they're not American idioms. So I don't know, it's super important though in general that you don't expect everyone to conform to your language, even if you do speak English. Like, yes, English is super common, but you don't live in a country where English is the first language. So it's important to learn that language there. So those were our 2 events of the day. I told you guys it was probably going to be really slow this week, or this day. I also said this week, and it just really hasn't been. So that's okay. It's been an adventure. And so we are now going to jump in and talk about the next 5 monarchies that I have prepared that I don't talk about on this podcast. Today, like I said, we are going to be talking about 5 more royal families that I don't talk about on this podcast. We are finally to a point where the days were slow enough that we can absolutely talk about these. So we are going to jump right in. I think, yes, the last time we did this, we left off with Lesotho. So today we are jumping in with the Principality of Liechtenstein. This is a small principality located between Switzerland and Austria, where the common language is German. The country is a semi-constitutional monarchy, which means that the Prince of Liechtenstein has more power than the average monarch. So he's able to partake in the day-to-day governing of the country, or principality. It is a country, but it's a principality. So it is a hereditary monarchy, and their monarch is called the Prince of Liechtenstein. However, the current Prince of Liechtenstein, Hans Adam II, has actually allowed his son to be acting as regent for 17 years almost. So since 2004. So yeah, that's 17 years. I couldn't figure out, this isn't like a health reason. It literally just seems like maybe Hans Adam didn't want the job, and so his son has been doing it. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Like, I don't know. I honestly looked into this a lot because I was really confused as to why. But they're incredibly rich in terms of, like, they're worth billions of dollars. This this royal family. It's incredible. Yeah, Liechtenstein is an interesting one, in that it's, I don't know, it's just a little bit of an oddity in the European monarchies. Okay, so that was Liechtenstein, and now we move on to Luxembourg. So Luxembourg is a small country in Europe. It's between Belgium, France, and Germany. Technically, this is considered a Grand Duchy, which means long, long ago, it was a duchy that was part of a separate kingdom. I think it was part of France. And then when it became independent, it stayed considered a Grand Duchy, with a Grand Duke being the monarch. So the Grand Duke of Luxembourg is currently Henri, and he has a symbol of unity role, so he is not part of the day-to-day governing. The monarchy is hereditary. There is a hereditary Grand Duke, and then the hereditary Grand Duke and his wife have a baby who is the hardest working royal baby ever. His name is Prince Charles, and he is less than a year old and has probably had more engagements than like any other royal child ever. I think the only ones at this point who have more on him are like Leonor and Sophia from Spain, because he has so many events. It's so cute. He's a very cute little baby. So he is the hardest working European royal baby ever. This country is actually one, so when I was kind of making my list, Luxembourg and Monaco were both countries that I talked about putting into this podcast, but I never did. I decided to make my cutoff at 7, not because at the time I was worried about like a timing thing. I really wasn't. My first like month of episodes were 15 minutes or so, and I really came into it when like COVID hit. So it wasn't a time thing as much as a sort of an interest, but also a long-term thing. I wasn't sure long-term if this was going to be, if I wanted to talk about Luxembourg and Monaco every day. And I don't. I will be honest, like, I don't. That's not a thing that I wanted to do. So I don't. But they were definitely two that made the cut because they are what I would consider more in line with this, like, European monarchy clique. But I just cut it off at, like, European monarchies that have heads of states that are kings and or queens as the head of state, not, like, grand dukes or serene princes or anything like that. So that's why I didn't talk about them. But I do follow Luxembourg fairly closely, mostly because they have an adorable baby who I will watch because he's just really cute. Okay, so that is Luxembourg. And now we are going to move on to Malaysia. Malaysia is an island country in the southeast part of Asia. So they have a really interesting structure for their monarchy. It's a 5-year elected term. So it's similar in that it's an elected monarchy to Cambodia. However, this one is not term limited, but like they have a 5-year term and they come from a group of 9 rulers. So like there is a council of 9, and the king is one of those 9, and so it alternates between them. It's really interesting. So the current king is Abdullah, and he was installed in 2019. And he is the head of state with a parliament doing most of the governing. He has 2 wives and 9 children, and I know I don't talk about, like, you know, for example, in Luxembourg, like, I didn't talk about too much of their family. I did talk about some of it, but, like, I don't know, the two wives culture, I just feel like it needs to be pointed out, so I talk about it. I don't know. So that is Malaysia, and now we are going to move on to Monaco. Monaco, for Americans, is kind of one of those esteemed royal families that a lot of people know about because a long time ago, an American actress became the Serene Princess of Monaco when she married the head of state of Monaco. So this is Princess Grace, or Grace Kelly. And so this is like a country that Americans follow a lot. I personally don't. I think that's like a generational thing. If you're following royals, like, I got invested in the same way like so many others did with Will and Kate's wedding 10 years ago. But I think, like, for people who are older than me or older than my mom, who would have gotten involved, like, became kind of interested in royals because of Charles and Diana's wedding, you know, like my grandma's generation kind of watched Grace Kelly become part of this royal family and, like, know her children's names and things along those lines. I just really don't follow them. I watched their royal wedding in 2011, I think. I think it was in the summer, so I think they've been married for almost 10 years too. So the Principality of Monaco is a micro-state on the French Riviera, so it's bordered almost entirely by France, and then there's the Mediterranean Sea is like their southern border. So it's a very small microstate. There are less than 40,000 residents, and only like 7,000 of those are naturalized, like born in Monaco residents, or citizens. So the government is a unitary constitutional monarchy, which means that the sovereign prince, Prince Albert II, has an active role in the day-to-day politics and the day-to-day governing and judicial roles. And it is a hereditary government with a male primogeniture, which means that, and this is a very real thing, so in Prince Albert's case, he has twins. His daughter is older by, I don't know, less than 30 minutes, but still, she was born first. However, his son is the crown prince, because they have male preference in their monarchy, which is fine. It's super outdated and I hate it, but I don't know. There's also part of me that's like, not that I like it, I don't, but part of a monarchy is to be outdated, but maybe not in Monaco. That's a very modern, free living situation. I don't know. So that is Monaco, and now we are going to move on to Morocco. I'm not going to lie. When I was a child, definitely didn't know the difference between Monaco and Morocco. And sometimes to this day, I still don't always. No, I do. I know where Morocco is. I know where Monaco is. But, like, for example, Morocco is a North African country, and it's literally just south of Spain. But for me, I always thought Casablanca was in Monaco, but it's not. It's in Morocco. Just, like, seriously, learning, I knew that it was in one of those two. And so realizing yesterday that it was in Morocco when I was preparing this, I was in shock. I don't know why. I just always thought that Casablanca, like the movie, took place in Europe, and it didn't. It took place, I mean, it's named after Casablanca in Morocco. So Morocco is another unitary monarchy, which means that their king, who is Mohammed VI, has an active role in the governing. Morocco is really interesting as a country in general, but also like as a monarchy, because there are pieces of it that are very similar to like a European monarchy. Because of their proximity to Spain and Portugal and the Iberian Peninsula, and the education of Muhammad VI, like he was educated in Europe primarily, and so I think that has a lot to do with it. But then it also has these clashes of like Islamic influence, because Morocco is an Islamic country, like the majority of people in Morocco are Muslim, and it's just like this really interesting contradiction. So there is like personality traits of Muhammad that you seem to find in a lot more of the Middle Eastern monarchies in terms of money and spending and things along those lines that don't happen in they happen in some, but they don't happen in a lot of the European monarchies. But then you also have these big state visits and like it's a hereditary monarchy, and so Muhammad's children are extremely active, even though they're fairly young. They're extremely active in the royal family and like are taking on official duties. It's just this really interesting dynamic that, I don't know, it's just kind of, I find it fascinating. So that is the 5 countries that we are going over today. Tomorrow we'll do Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Thailand, Tonga in the UAE, and then on Sunday, for the episode that comes out on Monday, we will do the Vatican, as well as any Easter traditions or any Easter/weekend events. Monday's episode is just going to be a hodgepodge. I'll just throw that out there. So that is kind of the game plan going ahead. Thank you so much for listening. I updated all the engagement counts today, both on thedailyroyal.com and the Daily Royal on Instagram. Thedailyroyal.com has better information. The Instagram is literally just a picture with just the numbers, no breakdowns or anything like that. And then I think that's all I've done today. Yeah, that you guys get to know about. I've updated some like other things, but most of those will be coming to in the next couple of days. So please go visit thedailyroyal.com, the Daily Royal on Instagram, like and review this podcast wherever you are listening, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Have a great Friday. Bye.